Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another semi-final of the Bunnings NPC. This one, Canterbury taking on Hawkes Bay. And the winner of this contest, they'll be facing Otago. Now, if it is Hawkes Bay, the underdog here, they'll be heading south to Dunedin. But if Canterbury win this game, it will be an all-South Island final taking place in Christchurch in just 7 days' time. But I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you're all excited for this matchup. Now, I will mention that last game between Otago and Bay of Plenty was considered as 50-50. This one considered a little bit more in favour of Canterbury, but we have seen them have a home loss so far this season, so it doesn't make it impossible, but this Hawkes Bay Magpies side, they're going to have to play well. They want to take down Canterbury. And in Christchurch, looking through at the starting side, it will be Brewis in the front row alongside George Bell and Seb Calder. Also Sam Derry, who will make his way into the All Blacks squad in the near future. He partners with Jamie Hanna in that locking duo. Zach Gallagher at number 6, Tom Christie number 7. Now, those two men both going overseas for next season. Dom Gardner, he slots in as that number 8. Louis Chapman alongside Andrew Newstub in that 19 combination. Dallas McLeod and Braden Eno, two men who are All Blacks 15 bound. Natunani Punivai out on the left. Manasa Mataeli out on the right, and then it is Jay Fiaki slotting in as the 15 for this game. Now, he can play 15, he can play out on the wings, very versatile player, also has that long boot, and in playoff rugby, that may be exactly what they need to get themselves the victory. Looking through at the Magpies, Poldy Dakity Stones in the front row, alongside Devery and Apakatoa in that number 3 jersey, Cridge and Parsons in the locking duo. Miracle Whailangi, he has been dangerous with ball in hand, alongside Smith and Flanders to make up the loose forward trio. Palau Pakatara and Lincoln McClutchy will be slotting in as the 9-10. Late change due to an injury. It actually means that Higgins goes in at 12 with Greg on the outside at 13. Naria Famai as the 11 with Jonah Lowe out on the right. And Zahn Sullivan, a man who's been making all the difference for Hawkes Bay as of late. We wanted to have a big impact for this semi-final as well. We have got out the Canterbury, says Matt, and go Hawkes Bay. Only because it's the closest to me geographically. Says Novmum there. And we have also got Hamish is in the toilet, it seems. So we have got, come on, Hamish, we're watching here. It was at 7:11. I think we started just before 7:11, so it must not have been too far off. We have got there high all about 5 minutes to kick off, said Studs Race. And yeah, this game getting very close to getting underway. The 7:15 p.m. kickoff. And this game, of course, taking place at the exact same time as another sport here in New Zealand. And it is the New Zealanders taking on England in the T20. We've got their morning Hamish from a sunny, crisp Cape Town. And I was really hoping Zach Gallagher would get picked up until I found out he was going to Japan at the end of 2025. Such a big loss of talent. Says Tanatu. And with those eligibility selection policies, it does mean he could be away for quite some time for Zach Gallagher. But yeah, an absolute tank of an individual throughout that game up against Counties Manukau in extra time as well. Still going well and truly. We have got there, to be fair, Canter backline is better than ours. But let's go Hawkes Bay, says Charles. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I think that both of these sides have shown some real class throughout the last few weeks. In fact, throughout the whole of the season. The top 4 sides at the end of the regular season were the top 4 sides now for the semis. But I don't think it's very easy to underestimate or to write off this Magpies team. Because they always, that Ramfurly Shield stage. I do remember it like it was yesterday, how even in games where it looked like they were going to lose, they always found a way to win. And that is normally what is said about this Canterbury side, as well as the Crusaders. They find a way to win at the final whistle, and we did see that in their game up against Counties Manukau. And just last week, they were able to win it in extra time, 23 points to 15. Hawkes Bay, they had a bit more of a comfortable game up against Taranaki. They're just showing there for Zach Gallagher. He's made 94% of his tackles throughout this NPC competition at 170 metres gained, and he just gave Chapman a bit of a slap on the back as well. Trying to fire up the halfback, ready for this matchup. But the matches beforehand, we've actually seen some decent winning streaks heading into the semi-finals for all the sides involved. Targo on the longest. I believe they are now on 7 matches in a row heading into the final. And we have got there Otani as the GOAT. Says the Sporting Kiwi. And also, how was the kids' cricket training? So they did have the game today, this morning, and they did end up winning, which was great to see. It was very hot there. Luckily, I don't think I got too sunburnt. I managed to get the sunscreen on before it got to the burning stage. But no, they played very well, slowly getting better each and every week, which is Always awesome to see. We have got there, don't mind the T20, relatively short game. Says Novmum there and Canterbury on paper, but Hawkes Bay probably better form in the past few weeks. Says Thuds Rays. And you always have to wonder how much, even with a victory, does extra time take out of Canterbury? You know, some sides, they show fatigue from the week prior. And, you know, could we see a little bit of that in this match? Perhaps we see Ben O'Keefe will be in charge of this game. Angus maybe as the TMO with James Dolman and Fraser Hannon as the two assistant refs. Now we have good there, Tago, well done. Says Ruth. We have good there, awesome, your teaching is fantastic. Well, I wish I could teach myself. I got a duck today playing cricket, so I certainly didn't teach myself what I've been teaching the younger kids. We have there, Canterbury, so much class, great players coming through decades. Says Ruth. Just showing a big smile on the face of George Bell. We'll be thoroughly excited to get that chance for the All Blacks in the near future. But this one kicked off now by Canterbury, and semi-final number 2 is underway now, ladies and gentlemen, for the NPC. It's nicely claimed by Hawkes Bay. We are once again manually doing the scoreboard. So hopefully, we'll go like this. There we go. Why the hell did New Zealand pick a South Island referee for this game, considering he's near Christchurch, says Kiwi Rob? So which island would you have wanted him to be from? I guess maybe they could find a Stewart Island referee for a bit of neutralness for this game. George Bell throwing that one in. That was an ugly line out. Looked like an under 9s, but it's worked for Canterbury, who have now got themselves possession 40 metres out from the Hawkes Bay line. To the left-hand side, quickly moved across. Newstub goes to Manasa Mataeli. There's nothing worse than getting a duck. Well, a golden duck is worse, to be fair, or a royal duck, but yeah, third ball duck still hurts a little bit, but we did win, so I guess it's not the end of the world, but certainly want to try and protect those stumps a bit better next time. I don't mind getting sunburned since I changed my diet, no need for sunscreen. Oh, sorry, you don't get sunburn. I thought you said you don't mind, that was an interesting choice. Wouldn't pick someone in near Christchurch, says Kiwi Rob. So where is Ben O'Keefe actually from? Because I feel like we've had to look it up before, and there was, unless it was another referee that we were looking at, who was from the North Island. We'll go, where is Ben O'Keefe from, eh? While we are waiting. In fact, we'll wait for a stoppage because it's not that important yet. Going back into the pocket. Chapman goes to Newstub. So I'm going down towards the 22. Nicely taken by Lincoln McClutchy. Hamish, never mind. At least you had a bat in your hands. Good bowling then. Says Ruth, yeah, the team bowled well. I didn't get a bowl either. It was a pretty quiet day. Did you at least take a catch? Didn't take a catch, but didn't drop one. So that's all right. I guess it could be worse, but kick downfield from Hawkes Bay. Now Chaifiaki. Kicking this one into touch. I haven't had a duck in years. Had chicken a while ago. And third ball duck is 3 times better than a golden. And try for a 4-ball duck next time. Improvement, says Thuds Rays. Oh, it's out on the full. From Lincoln McClutchy, just not quite getting his angle right there. But yeah, the bonus was we at least got a leg by off the first ball I faced. So in a way, some runs were added, just not by me. I really like George Bell. He seems like another Cody Taylor type player. He's got a lot of potential, and I do think that out of him or Brodie McAllister, I think that his ceiling's that little bit higher, just in terms of that running game as well. McAllister, don't get me wrong, he did score himself a try in his debut for the ABs, but I think that Bell's running over the last couple of seasons. Nice ball on the outside here for Canterbury. Goes into the hands of Natunani Punivai, tackled by Lowe. Now Chapman goes across to the right-hand side, finds Newstub. This is where Canterbury can be dangerous, about that 30 metres out, straightening run there. It's Derry. Does end up linking up with Jamie Hanna. Looks like a ball stolen in the breakdown from Falau Fakatava, but he was offside. And hopefully the Hurley injury isn't serious after just coming back. He's going to be an All Black one day. Yeah, I'm not sure what the extent is of it. It looked like calf or something around there, but yeah, hopefully nothing too bad, seeing as he, like you said, he's literally just come back from an injury. In fact, there's a pretty long injury list for Otago. I don't know what the extent of Cam Miller's injury is, but he did go off for an HIA, and if he failed it, he actually wouldn't be able to play in the final. But I haven't heard anything as of yet in terms of whether or not he failed it or whether he was taken off, and because the game ended, then they didn't have to finish it. I don't know what the ruling is there. Chaifiaki at the moment, he's sitting 52% off the kicking tee so far. 11 from 21, not the highest numbers for that man, although we do have to remember normally when that man is called upon for kicking, it's from over the 50 metres out. in my opinion. Bell higher ceiling than McAllister, watching Odin Rain for the Marcos. Says Studs Raber, that kick has gone over early for Canterbury, and they will now lead this game 3 points to 0 up against Hawkes Bay. Like I mentioned, they are considered as the biggest favourites of the semi-final. That Otago versus Bay of Plenty game was a pretty 50-50 in terms of the odds. This one, Canterbury given about a 65% chance of being able to win. That's probably gone up to about 68 now. Going to be kicked off by Lincoln McClutchy. Big collision there. Tackle made by Devery, and that's going to be a nice steal for Hawkes Bay, who now have themselves the possession, sitting about 20 metres out from the line. Falau Fakatava goes across to James, though, with a step back inwards, tackled by McLeod. Chaifiaki seems like he's not a good lateral running, or he's got a good lateral running game, sorry. Perhaps he should trust his running game more, says Tanner too. I think he normally does out on the wing. At fullback, he's probably still getting a little bit more used to it in terms of that positioning. Because definitely when you're right near the end of the season, it is a tricky adjustment to make, even though he has played it before. Of course, depending on the opposition that you're facing. Big bump off there, Devon Flanders, man who's made his way into the All Blacks XV. Well, the All Blacks 15, depending on what you want to call it. Currently 7 metres out from the line, though the Magpies looking to fire straight back after just conceding the 3 points. Fakatava, left-hand side again, finds the hands of Tom Parsons. Keep calling for Canterbury to stay on side. Big tackle made by Bell and Christie. Going across to Poldy Stones. It's good defence at the moment. 12 phases in. Not really going forward at the moment for Hawkes Bay, but a gap could soon open up. Fakatava again to the right-hand side. Little shovel on from Sullivan. Delayed pass from Naria for Mahi. In fact, that time it was Lincoln McClutchy. Now short ball from Fakatava. That is close for Upper Katoa. Just short of the line. They're over now, but it may be held up. Yes, it is held up. And they'll go back for the goal line dropout. We have what's crowd like, considering it's a sellout at the cricket, says Kiwi Rob. The crowd isn't huge for this match. Probably not as large as they would have liked to have. But of course, when you've got 2 sporting events both taking place in the same location. Although, Hagley Oval, how many people does Hagley hold? I'm going to have to Google that quickly, because I think a Hagley Oval sellout isn't actually a huge number from memory. I think it's like 10,000 or 9,000. So I wonder if they've got 9,000 here. I think they've probably got closer to 5,000 for this match, unless more people are hidden on this far side. 8 or 9K says starts raise. Awkward bounce, a ball nicely picked up by the Magpies, but it's put down by Naria for Mahi, and that one will be kicked downfield from Canterbury to relieve a little bit of the pressure. Lincoln McClutchy, 2-man tackle on him, finished by Fiaki. Hello everyone, waiting for the Stormers game tonight. Says Annie now, short side, logos to Naria for Mahi, but he's cleaned up by Derry. And Lincoln McClutchy almost managed to get himself the steal there. It is going to be play on. And we got good morning all, and Hamish says, hey, no, welcome in. Hope you're doing extremely well. And especially as aerial game, because we're seeing how important the aerial game is nowadays. Yeah, I think that was one of the big reasons why a lot of people wanted to select him in the All Blacks, was because of his ability under the high ball. Now Fakatava, skip ball on the outside to Miracle Faialangi, breaking through one, tries to go over Fiaki, but he has been stopped. Now Fakatava, back across into the hands of Sam Smith. Now off to the right-hand side, Naria for May with the skip pass out to Flanders. Has McClutchy been signed by anyone for Super Rugby? I think he's with Moana Pacifica again, isn't he? Was he with them last year? He didn't get a lot of game time if he was. I've realised how bright I look. Oh, that's going to be nicely done. Natunani Punivai will run it in. And that will be the try. I've realised that is because of the sun behind me that has ended up doing that. 1 second, we'll go like this. And we'll go like that as well. But that is the first try of the contest. And it is Natunani Punivai who manages to score it. It was a mistake made by Hawkes Bay in the breakdown. Tom Christie got straight in there, ripped it away. I look like I'm slowly when they do like that dramatic effect of someone like disappearing. I feel like I'm slowly experiencing that. We will have it sorted in about 20 seconds, ladies and gents, but 10 minutes into the contest, Natunani Punivai Just no one in front of him. So he's just able to run it in, and that will now make the score 8-0 in favour of Canterbury. Oh, I know what it is. It's from the kitchen. From the kitchen blinds. I was trying to work out whether or not it was from behind, but there we go. It has been sorted. Big shout out to my mother, as she has just popped in to pull that for me. But that is going to be 8-0 at the moment. I didn't actually see if that kick went over. And beam me up, Scotty says, I lollipop. Top turnovers won throughout the competition. He's sitting on 16 now, Tom Christie. I wish to do a video of an NPC 15, excluding All Blacks and All Blacks 15 players. I hadn't really thought of doing one, to be honest. I think I've missed a few games this year, so I think I'd annoy more people than I'd get them right, if that makes sense. But you'd certainly be able to put together a pretty decent side. So I guess the question would be, do you include the guys overseas, or like sort of Tom Christie, who's going to England and whatnot? And Canterbury have such a strong defensive system. Players seem to really complement each other well. And also we have got there Christie with the steal in there too. But that one's going to be kicked high by Chapman. Does go into touch. It's going to get them to maybe about 35 metres out from the line here. Only 10 minutes past in the semi-final. Bulls win yesterday weekend. Ken now says, hey, no, yeah, I saw a close game in the end up against Connacht. A lot closer than I thought it would be, although I should have known it would be close because of the fact that any time I don't cover a game of the URC involving a South African side, it's normally a good game. And that's exactly what we got yesterday, or today, in fact. Fakatava now off to Poldy Rackety Stones. A lot of space for him to be able to run into. Canterbury now having to defend just out from their line. Fakatava knocking it on into his teammate. Wanted to go through that gap. I would have Lasanga over Christie. Yeah, see, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because you got two guys there, and Lasanga as well as Christie. Like, Christie's got more turnovers, but Lasanga, I think, has been far more dangerous on attack. Defensively, I think Christie's at the top of the competition for tackles made. But then Lasanga's right up there in terms of like the amount of defenders beaten and whatnot that he's been able to get throughout the comp. So, yeah, they're two very different players. So it just depends on what type of, I guess, tactics you're going with in your side. Coming out. Ready to put this ball in. Canterbury going up to the right-hand side now. Just sitting 15 metres from their try line. He was asking for a penalty there, but then realised that he had to join the breakdown. Enor kicking it downfield. That one will just about go into touch. Yes, it does. That kick must have missed because it would be 10-0. That is true. It is currently 8-0 at the moment between the two sides. Canterbury have got themselves a pretty hefty... Well, see, 8 points is a decent amount to be ahead in a finals type of situation. Anything more than 7 is a bonus. We were comfortable, but we prioritised the 3 points and not going for the tries in the last 10, 15 minutes, which kept Connacht in the game. And when we were 9 or 11 points ahead, says, hey, no, I did see a little bit of that late comeback from Connacht in terms of the timeline of the game. They must have scored the last try in the end. But if the Bulls kind of took their foot off the gas, I guess, like, as long as they got that win, that would be the main thing for them. Flanders going to go for the kick in behind. In fact, he's going to be chasing this one nicely. Flanders in it just about goes dead there. He's claiming it as a try, and that's because it's been called as one. Devon Flanders, they've got a grounding. I think they just want to check whether or not this one went dead. Isn't Connacht who Sam Gilbert signed to? I think so. I think he is going to Connacht, didn't he? McClutchy played for Moana in 2022-23. Has he played for anyone since? Or has he been missing in action? But they are just checking this one for Flanders. There's no denying he forced the ball down, but it's whether or not he forced it down in the field of play. Oh, it's close. It is very close. Che Fiaki, though, just... Oh, it's on the ball. Or on the line, I should say, sorry. And I think this is going to be no try. They are now deciding to go upstairs for it. I would have thought they'd do that from the get-go. Okay, they just want to check it on the big screen now. Sam Gilbert has signed with Irish rugby club Connacht and will join them at the end of the NPC 2025 season, says Kiwi Rob. Now the question is, was that straight from ChatGPT or was that from Google? Kiwi Rob, do let us know. We're going to see the replay here for Flanders. Does he get any sort of grounding on the ball before it's no, it's on the line. That is going to be no try. And I think I think so. He's a young player who is improving greatly. I look forward to Gilbert's return, says Zazazek. And I believe because of the signings of Pellegrini and Garden Bishop, that McClutchy wasn't in the team. You see, Pellegrini's changed Moana's attack completely, hasn't he? Garden Bishop, I guess, offers you that kind of solidness. He was signed with the Canes at one point, wasn't he, McClutchy? Or am I just thinking of... I think he was a Hurricane, wasn't he? I've completely butchered the spelling of Lincoln there. Okay, he grounds it on the dead ball line, and that is going to be no try. No, he was never a Hurricane. He was a red Hurricane, Osaka. In 2020, he was playing in Japan. And then also, actually, he's been playing at San Diego Legion since 2024. So that's where he's been. And, geez, they really want this to be a try. How many replays says Studs raise? Yeah, in the end, they have decided it is dead. So it will be no try for Flanders. So it is now the goal line dropout. Oh. Couple of people in the stands for Hawkes Bay not happy about that one. And like I said, there was no denying that Flanders did force it down. There was grounding, but it was just on the dead ball line. Played for San Diego, in the MLR. There's Zazazak. This is already going to be the second goal line dropout for Canterbury. Score prediction. It's hard to beat Canterbury in Christchurch, but Hawkes Bay, if they're close later on in a game, this one could go down to the wire. So I feel like I want to see it be less than 7 separating, but there is a chance that if Canterbury get a bit of a roll early, they could win it by 15. But that would be pretty harsh. And now big run from Flanders, who does want that try. And he just had disallowed Pakatava going to the short side after McClutchy with the step around the defence of Jamie Hanna. Little pop pass up to Poldy Deckety Stones, tackled by Seb Calder, who will be his opposite in the scrums, which we haven't seen too many of. In fact, we may not have seen a singular scrum at the first 15 minutes of this game. Could it be 4 from 4 for South African teams this weekend, says Haino. They're all favourites, so you'd think yes. And if they didn't, it would be quite surprising. Now in the rear for May. Takes it at the back, goes across to Zahn Sullivan for about a 50-22. Passes it into the rear for May, who actually took it off the chest and then into his hands. Now McClutchy off the low. Big driving tackle by George Bell. Forces him back 5 metres. Bit of a counter ruck now from Canterbury as well. Pops out on their side. Stolen short side. Chapman. One more on the outside to McLeod. He doesn't quite find Mataeli as of yet. In fact, they may not stop. Dallas McLeod just 3 metres short of the try line here. Pick and go. And a couple metres out. So Jamie Hanna, no, in fact, it's going to be George Bell has a crack, and also the advantage now for offside in favour of Canterbury. Derry's just 1 metre short again. Pick and go from Hanna, who's going to be held just short of the goal line. Now looking both ways here, Chapman decides to go off to the left-hand side. Che Fiaki, men on the outside, tries to skid round, passes one more, and Natu Nani Punivai, I think, might be in touch here. They've given it as a try. His foot was very close to that sideline, though. I think they might check that just to make sure, well, Canterbury is relentless. Says 10:02. Can we not predict a Lions win until it's the 79th minute and they have a 3-score lead, says Studs Race. We are Hawkes Bay. Or we all Hawkes Bay. Anyone but Crusaders or Canterbury, says Haino. MLR is in between Super Rugby and NPC, so no clashes. A lot of New Zealand players in the MLR have been in the NPC this season. And they're also... I heard that there's a statement from the MLR in regards to, I think they're having less international players in the starting sides now, aren't they, right? They're just going to check this foot of Natunani. He's out. He is out. That was awarded far too quickly for my liking, as it looked like not only his foot, but also almost his shin was in touch as well. Yes, I know anyone but Canterbury, says Zazazak. We have got there Made some new friends on Rugby Guru last night. Some of them are a nice bunch. Enough said. Says Bruce there. So this one will be ruled out as well. Okay, they're just mentioning there that it is penalty advantage anyway. Why are we checking this again? I assume this is just to show the angle where Natunani Punivai does go into touch. Admittedly, I want the Bay to win, so Otago has the home final. Says Zazazak. And also, we will have more no tries than tries. Yeah, at the moment, the count is 2-1 in favour of no tries. I think they're just also checking to see whether or not there was an arm wrap there. And that is going to go back for offside. I only want Hawkes Bay to win because Otago deserves a home final with the crowds they get. Says the Sporting Kiwi. Yeah, it looked like a decent crowd last game. It was about 10,700, I think, watching on for that game. I'm not too sure what the attendance is for this game. Hopefully we see it a little bit later on. Ball's in the hands of Andrew Newstub now. Does look like they're going to be kicking this one for the corner. This is where you see someone like a George Bell really try and get that rolling maul going. Going to be about 5 metres out from the line though. This is where Hawke's Bay's defence has to be clinical. Strike rate is 44%. They've had 43 lineouts inside of the red zone and they've scored 19 times. That gives them more of a chance than most sides in the competition. Nicely taken at rolling maul time. George Bell joins on to the back of the rolling maul. It was good to see the ball scrape through. Says Bruce now breaking off the back. George Bell just short 2 metres out. It's a good tackle made by Higgins. The ball is back out. Man on the side of, I think in the mix of everyone there, it was Jamie Hanna. Now Tom Christie tries to pick and go around the side. Now left-hand side again here for the Cantabrians. They find their second try of the contest, looking to shift it out now. Braden Enor decided against the pass out wide, but they have still got someone like a Che Fiaki as well as Manasa Mataeli on this left-hand side. I see Fiaki has actually transitioned to the right now, but they will continue shifting left with the pick and goes. Lot more space there for Canterbury, just short of the try line. I think calling for it now. Over the line, Derry scores it. And they will get their second try now, Canterbury. Just building through the phases. Sam Derry saw the opportunity to go for it. He's doing the big S, I believe that was. Go like this and we will update the time, but Canterbury, this is now an ugly lead. 13 points. If this kick goes over, it becomes 15, and then it just becomes an even bigger mountain to climb for Hawke's Bay. Just looking through at their last game up against Taranaki, they only conceded, that's the wrong one, they only conceded 12 points, and they've already conceded more than that here for the semi-final. Up to 13, kick to come for Fiaki, like I mentioned. He did miss his first. And Canterbury is relentless yet again. And it was good to see the ball scrape through. And also, was it the big S? I've seen a few players do it, says the Sporting Kiwi. Yeah, I think it was an S. There was something beforehand as well, though, for it. So I'm not too sure what the first part of it was for Sam Derry. That one is going to go over. And now making the score 15 points to 0. Seems like Fiaki has found his home at 15, perhaps no. I think he's just good enough that you put him anywhere in the back three and he'll go very nicely. But I was waiting for him to get the ball there. They never quite gave it to him on attack. I thought that they were going to try and shift it out. That was where maybe Enor hung on to it for, you could argue, a little bit too long, but not by much. And ball's just one just close go balls. Says Ruth. Now Chapman putting it high. That one's going to go into touch about 45 metres out from the line now. The line out for Hawke's Bay. We're almost at a quarter of the way through this contest though. First quarter points conceded. Canterbury have had 24. Hawke's Bay, they normally score 41 points in their first quarter. And they haven't been able to do that as of yet. But a big line out over the back. That looked like a deliberate knockdown. And it's going to be a yellow card for Natunani Punivai. That is the type of play that can completely shift momentum. He has scored himself a try, and now he's got himself a 10-minute break. Hawke's Bay look like they are slightly just trying to tick this one along, get as many attacking opportunities as they can throughout this 10-minute window. Hawkes Bay have to hit back now. We have so many good fullbacks right now. Some of them are going to have to play on the wing, though. Says the Sporting Kiwi. And I mind that stump says studs raise. Yeah, it wasn't his best move there. Nato Nani Punivai. I want to say it was just a split-second decision that he then went afterwards, oh, that was bad. But, yeah, it'll be intriguing to see what this 10 minutes... Now it does. That was a big yawn, but Sam Derry manages to get the line out still for Canterbury there. It means that that opportunity now has been squandered for the Hawkes Bay side. Rolling this one back. Or, in fact, no, Chapman's going to go to this near side once again, finding Dom Gardner. And yellow discipline Canterbury says Ruth. Yeah, they will be playing up until the 30th minute with only the 14 on the field. One's going to be kicked in touch. I did see that France are incorporating an orange card. But I'm not sure when that has taken place. But bringing in the orange to go alongside the yellow and the red. They're just showing their points scored per quarter. Throughout the whole NPC competition, this period between 20 and 40 is the most dangerous for Hawkes Bay in terms of points scored. Morning all from the Dam. Canterbury looking good, says JC. They've started extremely well in this contest, getting themselves the 2 early tries. Here comes Miracle Whaialangi, trying to find his way through to the defensive line. Is Sam Derry better than Naito Akoi? I don't think so. It's a tricky one. I think that Akoi seems to have that little bit more of a... I would say a presence in the locking duo, but then that is also, I would say, down to like Derry. He does a bit more, I think, behind the scenes stuff and the breakdowns and whatnot. Definitely when he's playing for Canterbury, he almost kind of steps up as one of the, it feels like he's one of the experienced forwards. I mean, Naito Akoi, he's certainly experienced. He was the captain for them in the last match for Bay of Plenty. But yeah, I think they're both good in their different ways. And both of them, I think, are future All Black, at least, like, squad stayers, if that makes sense. Like, they're going to get plenty of game time in the future. And off to the left-hand side. So we've got to remember, Scott Barrett, he is not getting that much younger. And they've got Holland now. You've got Tui Pilotu. He's also getting older. Little chip attempted in behind. That one's going to be bouncing nicely. And it was just outside of the 22. Kick there, breaking up play from Zahn Sullivan. 24 metres out from their own line. Canterbury will have the throw. Have the Springboks announced the November team yet? Not yet. They must not be a mile away. I know that about a week ago it was within the next 2 weeks. And I think what Rassi did last year was wait until the end of this rugby URC round and then announce them. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get an announcement maybe after that Zebra versus Stormers game. I'm just checking. Yeah, it doesn't seem like they've got anything about a date as of yet. But yeah, it's normally not too far away. Are you looking forward to the Ashes next month? I am. I think it's going to be great to see them. Sad that Pat Cummins isn't going to be playing in the first test for the Australians just due to injury, but there's just something good about the Ashes. Like test match cricket, I normally thoroughly enjoy. But it's only once the Ashes happens that I fully get, like, invested in it again, if that makes sense. It just seems a little bit early at the moment for test matches, but we're getting close. That kind of best time. Waiting to see the injuries. Yeah, there will be a few more, unfortunately, on that injury list. 24 minutes through, though. Apparently still that 15-point lead. And just like that, it's been about 4 or 5 minutes off that yellow card. Oldies, goldies, Amish. Experience in action. Oh, ball stolen there by Hawkes Bay. Now Jacob Devery. He's running it straight sideways. Gone for the grubber in behind. This one's going to sit up for low. And he does take it nicely, but Canterbury managing to have the pace to get back across 10 metres from the goal line now. Now Devery goes off to the left-hand side. He's doing a little bit of play, making at the moment. Oh, that was almost another yellow card, but on the outside. Naria Famai scores the try. And Hawkes Bay now back into this game for the semi-final. Yeah, Enor, he did the outstretched hand that all but led to another deliberate knockdown. That one could have been a penalty try too, had he got a hand on it. How many people do you think will be in the tour? Or in the squad to tour South Africa next year as 8 games, so 36-man squad would be too small. I think they're probably going to go 42 at least. Because, well, actually, how many did the British and Irish Lions have for their about 10-match tour? they may only let them have about maybe 38 or 40. Morning, Hamish, chilling at the beach. Thanks for the commentary, says Joss. So hopefully you are enjoying I'd assume it's sunny there, unless it's like a beach that's all right in the rain too. Actually, Vili Larue might be a good choice after last night's performance, says Bruce. But now Lincoln McClutchy lining up this kick, does get it over. Makes the score now 15 points to 7, so that Natunani yellow card hurting them a little bit here. 7 points have been scored. And the advantage for Hawkes Bay just in that period of time. It was a nice last pass from Miracle Whaialangi. And a good finish from Naria Whamai as well. Spoiler. Japan 15-7. Australia 71 for Australia 8. Yeah, I did see, I think it was after about 5 minutes in that game. It was already a try being scored by Australia. And then I saw when it was about 50 points in their favour, and it just looked like it kept on getting worse. I'll be honest, I didn't think that the Japan 15 would lose by that much. Like, I know that they were underdogs, but I didn't think that they would be, like, completely dominated in the way that they were. LaRue Magic, says Ruth. And come on, people, do it for Hamish, says Ruth there too. Back into the pocket. Here's Zahn Sullivan off his left boot. A decent amount of distance on it. Be down towards the halfway line. Canterbury still another 3 minutes or so remaining of that Natunani Punivai yellow card. Irish, love your smile, looking absolutely fabulous in that grey hoodie. Says Ruth there. See, I had to put a hoodie on because my shirt is actually like a dark green and I more than likely would disappear if I did have it on. George Bell ready to throw this one in. Oh, he's not happy about the gap. Now thrown in, nicely taken by Sam Derry. Tom Christie thought about going the left-hand side. The referee may have gone into that tackle a little bit high. Looked like he took a bit of a head knock. Now Chapman back across to the right-hand side. Dallas McLeod rush defence there. And the driving tackle around the bootlaces from Folau Whakatava, forcing Enor backwards. Canterbury believe they're going to lose that ball in the breakdown. Yes, they do. And Blunders trying to get through Chapman. All available now. At 40 metres out from the line. Bit of a rough pass there from Higgins, but it's well handled. And now Zahn Sullivan cutting inwards and outwards. Passes now to Lowe. Again, he will be dragged down 10 metres from the goal line. That ball this time stolen by Canterbury straight in there. Andrew Newstubb fired up about it too. A lovely sunset in Chicha. Says Kiwi Robin LaRue is the GOAT. It makes a difference between going up and going down. Sorry, going down and going up. So here's Ruth there. A nice steal in the breakdown for Canterbury just out from their goal line. And it is that crucial moment. And yellow card, how many more minutes? Still another 2 minutes remaining of that yellow card, or maybe a little bit less now. So still time for Hawkes Bay if they can get this ball back at the line out. Hawkes Bay need a score, says Ruth. Yeah, if they can cut this deficit down to less than 7 at half time, that'd be well and truly in. I've just realised I've got to move my mouse. There we go. I did up that a little while ago, but just forgot to move me thing. One's going to be thrown in. Nicely taken by Sam Derry at line out time again. Tom Christie breaking off the back. Ball across to George Bell. Big fend. Here he goes with a little chip in behind the hooker. But runs into the shoulder of the Magpies. McClutchy going across again. Good hands on the outside. And Ria Whamai does put it almost into. In fact, that one just goes into touch. One bounced about 3 or 4 times inside of the regular field of play. George Bell, some pure pace being shown by him as well. And we have good there. Chichester Chicks, says Ruth. And we have good there, the Billy emojis from Ruth there too. George Bell, another line out. Someone's already saying not straight. The ball hadn't even been thrown yet. Bell ringing again. Great passing Crusaders. Bell too clever, kicking the ball away. Says Studs race. Yep. Tackle made by Dallas McLeod. Whakatava 40 metres out from the line. The Ria Whamai again goes back across McClutchy with the quick hands. On there. Maybe a knock on from Sam Smith. Looks like it will be play on for now. Managing to roll out of there was Dom Gardner. It's going to be a long match. So here's Ruth. Although 30 minutes has flown by pretty quickly already for the contest, but it will feel pretty hard on the lungs later on. Skip pass out wide to Flanders. We have good there, Hamish. How far is Hackley Oval from the game? Do you want distance or time? Because I think it's a little bit different because of, traffic and whatnot. We'll go to Apollo Projects Stadium. It is 3 minutes or 1.3 Ks. Now, 3 minutes is pretty optimistic, I have to say, but it's pretty close in terms of location. I'm guessing 2 Ks, says Studs Race. Probably, if you take the longer route, it may be quicker for the 2 Ks rather than trying to go straight there. Definitely with both games taking place, I'm sure that traffic has been a little bit rough. Now ready to throw this one in. George Bell, he is inside of his 22, and they are back to now 15 on the field. Natunani Punivai returning from the bin. And finally throwing it into Derry again. He seems to be the main line-out option for Canterbury in this contest. Now back across to Derry once more. And for the steal and the breakdown there is Tom Parsons, but couldn't quite get his hands on the ball. Told to use it. Chapman better hurry up here. Does just that. Puts it. Oh, okay. He put it high, but it went straight sideways. So that is going to be about a 15-metre line out now. Chapman's disappointed. I feel like he was blaming his forwards there, which you normally should when you kick it off the side of your boot and it doesn't quite go the way that you want. I think Justin Marshall just saying about how Chapman actually created his own problems by narrowing his angle for that kick, and that one was almost stolen by Canterbury again, but it is a knock-on advantage in favour of Hawkes Bay. Fakatava going across now to Lowe. It's a little stutter step, but does get taken down by Christie. Does everyone have winning this? Says T2 Trappy. So for myself, for me, I think it's going to be within 7 for Canterbury, or they win by 15. You're in a small rural town, Hamish. Closest KFC for us is over 50 Ks away, I believe, or roughly 50 Ks. It's about a 30-minute drive to be able to get any chicken. That's going to be another advantage, this time turning into a penalty advantage in favour of Hawkes Bay. What an offload that is from Zahn Sullivan. Ball on the inside of Fakatavu will be dragged down 5 metres short of the try line again. Massive clean out on New Stub. Now Higgins plays half. Goes to Devery. This is the big chance for Hawkes Bay to get back into the contest. Rolling it back. And across there to the right-hand side. 5 metres still separating Hawkes Bay from another try before the end of the half. Now it's available. Smith playing half-back. Big clean out. Now Fakatava, there was almost a little bit of a juggle there from Hawkes Bay right on the goal line. Dallas McLeod trying to get the steal. Fakatava's over and they'll score again. The Magpies, they're back in it. Keith says ball touches the line. And just like that, this game is well and truly on. It's probably an easy enough kick to almost award it now, so we will do that. 15 points to 12 at the moment, but it should be 14. Hi, Hamish, says Alex. Welcome in, and I do see you've got the picture of Ruben Love as your profile. We have got the try, says the Hobbit there. Stunning views of the ground. An absolute banger of a sunset tonight from ESPN Crick Info. And annoying there, thought Canterbury earned a turnover. Says Studs Race. Yeah, McLeod, or was it Eno? One of those two in the centres was very close to being able to get that steal. Just missed out, and it leads to the Hawkes Bay try. All-time point scorers. That is Ehire West at the top of the bunch with 613. Lincoln McClutchy, he's sitting on 507, so he is slowly catching up. McClutchy gets another one over. That's going to make the score now 15-14 between these two sides. Unbelievable, Hamish. We just said Hawkes Bay need a score. So here's Ruth. Yeah, it's come at a very good time. Just short initially, and then Fakatava made the great decision of sniping through. Got himself the try. 5 minutes remaining in this first half, though, and what has turned into a very close game between these two sides. This ground recently has seen a yellow card, or sorry, not just a yellow card, but also a extra time period. Will you be streaming the final? The really sad thing is it overlaps with Australia versus Japan for the first of the November internationals. So I think what I'm going to be doing is we will do the stream setup for Australia-Japan, but I will be doing updates of the NPC and have it on my second screen so that you guys know what's happening throughout pretty much every minute of the game as well, if that makes sense. With NPC going to TV and TVNZ Plus next year, do you think it will be easier for you to watch? Says Kiwi Rob. Not necessarily, because the likes of Sky, you can watch them all on the replays anyway. So it will be no different to what it is on TVNZ Plus. I guess the only difference is, they'd have ad breaks on it anyway, so it won't really change anything other than just which broadcaster we're going through. And Fakatava is the bomb, says Ruth. And that yellow card, very costly, says Starts Racing. It cost them the 7 points, and they lost all momentum during that period. Since then, it's been pretty much all Hawkes Bay with just that one big run from George Bell coming the other way. Now, I will mention that the Canterbury side still have the advantage, I feel, at line-out time. Got themselves a couple close steals already when a Springbok started to play again. They are playing in November, I believe November 2nd. They are going to be going head-to-head up against the Japanese. Sadly, that game overlaps with Australia-England, so I have no idea who did that schedule, but that was a shocker from the fact that they have those two games overlapping. Definitely because they're both taking place in England at different stadiums, so surely you'd at least make them different so that the ones who go to one game can watch the other game, not from the ground, but at least from somewhere, right? Now 3 minutes remaining in this first half. It will be Canterbury's line out, 30 metres out from the line. That is, of course, Hawkes Bay's line, so in a good position on the field. I'm watching the cricket right now. Says Alex. Yeah, it looks like a great evening for a game of cricket. That is for sure. Little knock on there from Christy, who's not happy about it. He said it's gone backwards. Are you serious? Who's doing the scheduling for these games? I don't know, but that one for me, the last terrible one in terms of scheduling was Women's World Cup final overlapping with Springboks versus Argentina. And now this one, Japan versus Springboks at the same time as England-Australia. England-Australia, you could argue, is the third biggest, or probably the second biggest international game taking place over that weekend. And it's overlapping with another game involving the world number one. So who works that out? And there was plenty of other time, I'm sure, that they could have played it. Well, guess I'm watching England versus Oz instead of the box. That never happens. Says Studs Race. Yeah, I have no idea what to do. I'd assume we'll try and do both in terms of hopefully I'll be able to find someone to fill in for me for perhaps England-Australia. But the biggest problem is most people who I try to get to fill in want to watch South Africa play. So it gets tricky. What teams are these, if I may ask, says Briston. So in terms of the overall standings, if that is the question, so Canterbury finished top of the table, which is why if they win this game, they will have themselves the home final. Hawkes Bay finished fourth. Still had a pretty solid season, only having the 3 losses. In fact, throughout the top 4 sides, throughout the regular season, we only saw 9 losses between them, which is the same amount as we saw from 5 and 6 combined, as well as 7 and 8. But yeah, so Canterbury, South Island side, based out of Christchurch. Hawkes Bay up north in Napier, home ground of McLean Park. And time for breakfast, melted toasted mozzarella and chicken with mayonnaise sandwich. Says Ruben. Now Mataeli breaking the line, passing the outside to Fiaku, who shovels it on quickly to Natunani Punivai. 2 men on the inside, but he can't find either of them. And a knock on from New Stub. Do you play T20 or ODI? So at the moment, we're in the T20 stage of the year. And then after that, we go on to the 40-over contest. So not quite ODI. We only play 40 overs each rather than 50. But that is the second half of the season. Actually, not playing cricket today. I did actually already play it. We are playing in the T20 zone, and it was around lunchtime that it was starting, so it's all done and dusted for the day. I also coached the juniors in cricket this morning. They were playing about 50 minutes away, so went there, coached, came home, and then pretty much had to go straight to the ground, and I was about 2 overs late joining up with my side, but luckily we were bowling, so It was all right, just jumped on the field. Come on, guys, take the tackle and set up quick ball, silly offloads. And up the base, says Alex. Time is it by you at the moment is 8 p.m. on the dot. And we have got there also rather Canterbury to win. People from South Island much better, says Bruce. Oh, of course, Otago. They would love to host the final. And Hamish play cricket Saturday. Says Ruth in there as well. Yeah, it's definitely when we get into the 40 over contest that it is more brutal. Because normally with those 40 over games, you know, you're probably looking at a good 7-8 hours of cricket. Whereas T20, you're normally done and dusted in about 3.5 hours. You look happy today. Well, that's good, I guess. I think... Oh, I feel like I'm normally happy on the streams. You say I look sad, but but no, it's all right. I found my wallet just before the live stream, which did help because I did lose it earlier on. He's retired, Ruth. We have got there for David Warner and Hawkes Bay making a game of it. Good to see, says Joss. Absolutely, and I've just kicked that ball into touch, so that will be half time. 15 points to 14 going into the second half, and it is still anyone's for the taking. 11 hours ahead of Bray. At the moment, they changed their clocks, and he looks like he's somehow slept, despite all the live streams. Says Zach. Yeah, see, I haven't had any sleep for... What time was I up this morning? About 6:45 a.m. this morning I ended up getting up because I had to leave for cricket. That was the juniors game by 7:30. So, yeah, I've actually been up for about 13-ish hours, which isn't too bad. That's actually a short day, I would say. What do you think of Andre Pollard? He's a good player. He will get opportunities. At the moment, they are just going with Sasha Mani. Just in recent times. And Reves Rehana, Ruben Love, and Josh Jacob could be our future 10s. Ruben Love, a utility 10-15. So here's Tanner 2. And also a brilliant game so far in this championship. And also, my nana is from the Bay. So here's Alex in there too. And at the moment, they're pretty close in this game. The fact that we are sitting just the 1 point separating these two sides at halftime, I think is fantastic. Pollard needs a break. So here's Roof there. Who's the Aussies wicketkeeper? I assume they're going to Alex Carey again. I believe. I could be wrong, though. I haven't actually seen their squad for the Ashes as of yet, although I don't know if they've actually announced it. They've just said a couple of the players who won't be available just yet. But second half, not too far away. Where are you from, Hamish? Says Alex. So I am located halfway between Christchurch and Dunedin, kind of smack bang in the middle of those two. In the South Island. We have there. Why does Fakatava never get a look in with the All Blacks? It's a good question. I would say he's always been unlucky. I thought when they ended up bringing in Christie that might have been the time that we saw Fakatava. He's in the All Blacks 15, so perhaps he would be that first choice. But then saying that, Kyle Preston has played for the All Blacks this year. So if there was an injury in the All Blacks, maybe they'll go with Preston. That scenario. Do you want a cricket update? I'm not sure. I haven't had too many updates as of yet, so I wonder whether or not we'd be able to get through the second half of this game without any spoilers, which would be pretty impressive. So we'll see how we go. But, yeah, we'll see whether or not we can avoid the spoilers for the whole second half. I'm not optimistic, but I'm hopeful. We have got their great-granddad is from Otago. So here's Alex there. And also, Alex Carey's eyes are in 2 different time zones. Says Pat Starr. And also, what with people calling for Love to play 10 when he hasn't really proven anything. Says Freshman. And also, Miller is in that list for me also. Look at how well he plays. I mean, he gets good balls. Says Zach, what do you do for work? So, I do work as a builder. And then I also do this on the weekends. But this is more of the hobby side of things, whereas working during the week. The All Blacks will start their tour in August. Test 1 against the Stormers. Says Briston. Yeah, the fixtures announced that it does seem like there's going to be some pretty quick turnarounds for the ABs, which is good because that means that the depth will get tested out a little bit. 9 overs done, 11 to go. Says Kiwi Rob. Yeah, so hopefully not too far into that second innings is when this game comes to a close. And Pollard's wife should have given birth in the UK. Then Andre could play and be there for the birth. says Bruce. When did your cricket season start? Mine starts in November, says Alex. So for us, it started, we're on our second week today. So last week was our first game. So we got our T20s first, and then just before Christmas, we go into the 40 over comp. Did you hear? Oh no, I read that one about the All Blacks. And great granddad is from Otago. Also, your ideal final, I assume, would be Otago Hawkes Bay then, in that scenario. And Isaac Carey's eyes has good reflexes. See that 120 kilometre ball coming down the pitch. At the moment, just the 4 tries have been scored throughout this final. Seen 2 from Canterbury, Punivai and Derry. And then for Hawkes Bay, we have seen the tries from Nariawhamai and then also the try from Whakatawa too. How many losses in the November series is acceptable for Razor? Depends on who you talk to. For me, like, they've done themselves a little bit of a trouble, the ABs, because they've labelled it as the clean, what is it, the clean sweep tour or something like that. What's the name of it? There's some sort of special name. The Grand Slam Tour, I think it's called, which makes it sound like they're winning every game. So anytime that they don't win games, that's going to get them in trouble. But like for me, I would say 3 out of 4 would actually be decent. You know, I think it's Ireland or England that will really trouble them. But, you know, as long as they get most of those wins, 75, I think's acceptable. Ireland and England are only tough games. Says Kiwi Rob there, and Stormers will win today. Says Bruce. Do you think Springboks win every game in November? They're a little bit the same as the ABs for me. They've got a couple tough games that they just can't underestimate the opposition for. Lover's never proven himself because he really hasn't had a chance to prove himself. Says Spencer and Canterbury boys. Says Roof, they have just showed their 21 missed tackles from Canterbury. I wouldn't think it though, from the amount of defensive brilliance that they've had at times throughout this game in terms of just phase after phase, being able to stop the opposition from making their way through. We have got there, they are losing at least 1, maybe 2. Says Hayno. And we've got there, have you heard of Wainui Mata, Lower Hutt? I've heard of Lower Hutt, not that place specifically. Wainui Mata, have I said that correctly or have I completely butchered that? I've probably butchered it, I would say. And I hope Annie will get up and make more coffee again soon. Or you could make some, Bruce, while we're at the halftime break. We've got there, why is the AB's playing all the easy games, says Mohadeen. It's just the way that it's worked out. I wouldn't say that Ireland and England are easy, though. But it's just the way that it worked out. It's the same as what we saw in terms of the July internationals, why South Africa were taking on Georgia as well as Italy. It's just the way that the schedule works. Sometimes you have hard games, sometimes you've got easy games. But you're always going to be playing pretty much everyone inside of the top. Yeah, that's kind of right, says Alex. It was my birthday on Tuesday, so hopefully you had a good birthday, Ollie. It'll be funny if the All Blacks lose to the Scots. The thing is, though, Murrayfield, they'll have to play well, and they can't afford to go with too much of an experimental side up against Scotland, because they'll be determined to try and do something, and Scotland have a pretty decent side. Got to remember they were competitive up against certain sides in the Six Nations, so yeah, they can't underestimate them. How's the Stormers? Stormers lineup looking? Because there's a storm coming. Says Briston there. They've got Sasha in there. They've got Damien Valimza there too. How do you think the All Blacks 15 will go with their games? England A will be an interesting one for me because we kind of saw an England A take on Argentina. And I know they weren't officially labelled England A, but they were pretty much the England side without their British and Irish Lions. What is the difficult game for the Springboks? Says Mohadeen. See, for me, what I'll do is I'll go South Africa Rugby. The schedule for them is actually not too bad because they kind of go, I would say, easier game, harder game, easier game. I would say their 2 big games are France and Ireland. And they are kind of nicely separated in that regard. And Clint and the Magic Man is back. And Tyrell Lomax, Ruben Love, and Pitu Munga Jensen are all from Wainui Mata. And also I was in the pub at Wainui Mata in 2004. I walked in, shouted everyone a pint, and gave us 20 minutes to drink it and F off. Well, that's nice. At least you got a free pint, I guess. It's Halloween soon, Hamish. You said you've got a costume ready. Yeah, it's really a low-effort costume, I will say. fact, I'll have to find it now that I think about it. I don't even know if it's here. I might have to go looking for it. Interesting that Damien and Sasha are starting. I thought they would be rested for this and then play next weekend. Says, I know, I would assume that if Rassi announces his side this coming week, most of those guys in the Springboks won't probably play any more URC, so perhaps this is their last chance. Maybe. 1 second, we'll go like this. We'll go like that as well. And Spider-Man is a good idea. I do not have a Spider-Man costume, unfortunately. But it will be something to do with like a suit of sorts, but not like the normal suit that we have on the streams. But we will look through at the reserves. I just realized we're about 10 minutes into the halftime break and we haven't looked at them once. There we go. Making their way off the bench. Daniel Leonard-Brown is there as the number 17. Also, Johnny Rover is the number 23. I know that George was a big fan of him the last time that he saw him in action for Canterbury versus Auckland. I think it may have been. Off the bench for Hawkes Bay, they have got Zaiwaka Leowiri, their number 19 jersey. Quite a handy player late. Same can be said about Eri Tara Inari, just because of that experience that he'll be able to bring to the side. But, yeah, be an interesting second 40. I think that both sides, Canterbury have had to make more tackles here. And that may start to hurt them a little bit in this one. But yeah, about 11 and a half minutes since that first half ended, which does mean we are getting very close to the start of the second half. We'll mention anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We are, of course, going to be back for more rugby later on for the URC and good commentary. Ernest from Cape Town says, Ernest, and it's greatly appreciated. We have got that game between Zebra and the Stormers later on, as well as the match between Sharks and Ulster, as well as the 2 URC games we're covering. Maybe I know the Irish guys are flying over to USA this week, says Hayno. Yeah, so I would say with the fact that that game's, it's in England, isn't it? So I guess it would depend on who's playing where. Like, not the Irish game, but the Japan versus South Africa match is taking place, I think, in England. Isn't it? Or is it somewhere else? But yeah, if it's in England, they may let a couple guys stay up north and play for the URC sides first and then join up with the squad. But anyone who would have been playing in South Africa, I think they'll get on the plane pretty quickly. What I'm quickly going to check is who's playing where next week. So, see, the Bulls are away from home, so a couple of their guys may get to stay. Sharks are at home, so I would say the likes of Kolisi, Etzebeth, and all those guys will be gone again. Lions, they haven't got a huge amount of Springboks across their side anyway. And then Benetton are playing the Stormers. So, I would say that Stormers players may still get to play, and perhaps the Bulls players, but I think anyone who would have been playing in South Africa probably on the plane to get them up there. Unless Rassi's going to leave it really late and only give them a week because of the fact that they're playing up against the Japanese in their first game. But I think you'll want a couple weeks to get them all up to speed again. One second, we'll go like this. We'll go like that as well. There we go. And Benetton will have a good chance if Damien Willemse is or isn't playing. It's Spider-Man 4 for Halloween. Oh, sorry, Spider-Man 4 Halloween. I haven't got a Spider-Man costume, though, but I have got a different costume that we are going to be using. It's really not much of a costume, though. Now kick downfield from Braden Enos, second half back underway. And we'll go like this. And we'll go like that as well. And watching from Kenya, loving the commentary behind Canterbury, says Josh Wern. It is greatly appreciated you being here for the stream yet again. What a summer petty female. Do better than Devon Flanders. Genuinely cannot think of anything, says Freshman there. Yeah, well, Flanders has taken a lot of line-out ball this year, hasn't he? The fact that he can play 6 as well as 8. Just give him that little bit of a edge there too. Now Fakatava pick and go off the back for the Magpies. Higgins joining into that breakdown. Short side for Cridge. Now Fakatava again, finding the hands of Miracle Fire Langi Benetton. We have a good chance if Damien and Sasha isn't playing. Says Zano, yeah, true. I think that they'll probably, like, that's the thing, Benetton at home, they are quite a tricky side to beat. Even though sometimes they aren't that high up in the overall standings, like, they are still like, but will they have the international Italian players, Hano? Because if they don't, then I would say it's the opposite. I just had that thought, because they have got a lot of Italian internationals in that side. Dupes or Simon Parker, what position we talking? If we're talking just player in general, it's very hard to compare them, because Duplessis Karefi kind of just plays 7. Well, his work in the breakdown, I would say, gives him that edge over Parker in that department. But then Parker's ball running, you'd probably give it to him. Oh, this is an injury here. Who's that? That might be either Seb Calder or Finley Brewers has stayed down with an injury now. But the Magpies, so theoretically, they are playing with 14 on the field, Canterbury for now. But the ball is ripped away by George Bell. Goes to Tom Christie. Now McLeod kicking it in behind, looking for the touchline. Too awkward, skidding ball. And that is a 50-22. That one was just only marginally off the ground as it was grubbed forward. And just kept on skidding on for Dallas McLeod. Flanders has always been a great line-out option. He takes half of them with one hand. See his freshman there. The 50-22 says no, mum, and true. Might be the opposite effect. Says Hano. Although, do Italy play in that first week of November? Okay, it's actually Zach Gallagher who was the player who was injured there. And he is still down near the Canterbury 22. Has the Māori All Blacks played each other before? Or has the Māori All Blacks and the All Blacks, I assume that is, played each other? I'm not too sure if they have. Great rugby there. I hope Gallagher's okay. See how Studs race. Definitely because he is expected to be going overseas, so last thing that you want is some sort of big injury beforehand. Just going to have a quick look at the international rugby. So, Italy don't play next week, of course. They actually don't play the week after either. So, I think their first game's up against the Australians in 21 days' time. So, I think they may still have their Benetton Italian internationals. Now, back across. Little grubber in behind, attempted there by Zahn. Sullivan just gives it away. The stupid laptop froze. So here's Tanner too. Which did you have on your laptop? Did you have the game on the laptop, or I'd assume not the stream? 8th of November, 2025 is Italy's first game. Is it? Oh, yeah, sorry. That's that game up against Australia. It's 9th for us here in New Zealand. That's why I had the confusion. How's it, Hamish? Hope you're well. That's another jam-packed weekend, says Anthony. It certainly isn't. Another penalty goes the way of Hawkes Bay. As for not releasing, they have really changed the momentum of this game ever since that yellow card. Watching this on my phone, the game on my laptop, says Tanner. George Bell or Bauer. So you're talking about who's the better, George? I would say that George Bell has the more potential, but then George Bauer, you know, he does get a lot of stick at times, but he's still not a bad option to bring in when they are dealing with a lot of injuries. Yeah, nice steal. Christie went to the ground, and then Fakatava managed to rip that ball away on the breakdown, or at least try to win the penalty for his side. Now line out sitting about 25 metres out from the line with Jacob Devery ready to throw it in. We have there Benetton handling the Stormers, or handing the Stormers their first loss. I will be very happy if that is the case, says Hano. And it could happen. You know, Benetton, like I said, tough side. Now short line out from Jacob Devery. Back across to Poldy Rakety Stones. Fakatava. On the outside to Miracle Fire Langi. Tackle made by Christie. That is a sentence that has been said many times throughout this whole NPC. He currently leads the tackling stat. Fakatava already scored himself one try. Sullivan tries a little offload. Goes to McClutchy. Ball on the outside now. Chance for Higgins. Cuts back in. Tries the offload. That might have been forward to McClutchy, but it's going to be a drop ball anyway. That'll be 5 metres out from the line. Canterbury now have themselves a scrum. We've got there from, I think that's, is it Kylie or Kyle? It's got the 2 L's. So it's interesting spelling. Can you focus on the game instead of unnecessary things? What would you consider unnecessary? Probably the URC, I assume. And Fakatava definitely danger man, says Ruth. And I'm watching this on my phone. And the game on my laptop. And Neil Wagner still looks good, says Kiwi Rob. Yeah, he's going to keep on going for a little while, I think. Bauer scored his first try ever after debuting in professional rugby in 2014. He's been going for a long time. George Bauer got that most recent try up against the Aussies. Scrum feed here for Chapman. Just a 5 metres out from the line. Currently 46 on the clock. Stormers are an awesome mindset. It's going to be tough to beat them if they continue to play like they are. So here's Anthony. Now that is a big push. No advantage. Dom Gardner now just a couple metres out from his line. Tackled down by Sam Smith. Now back into the pocket. And new stub. One's going to go into touch. We can chat about the URC and Autumn Nations after the game, says Kylie there. Yeah, although to be fair, there's been plenty of NPC and Super Rugby chat on the URC streams as well, so I guess they're just getting their own back for those ones. And thought there could have been a scrum penalty there. Looked pretty close to one for Canterbury. Now ready to throw this ball in, Jacob Devery. No side really willing to make those changes as of yet off their bench. Oh, falling over Sam Smith, but it has still gone into the hands of Jeff Cridge. Wanted to get the steal there, Finley Brewis. Unable to do so. Fakatava going off to the right-hand side. Devon Flanders. And 38 metres out from the line. Fakatava back across to Miracle Fire Lung. He hasn't been as busy in this game as I think many Hawkes Bay supporters would have liked, although he did have the try assist earlier on. Look at McClutchy almost going through the gap. That man's got butter on his fingers because he has dropped the ball again in contact. It's about his third or fourth time that he's tried to force an offload and it's just slipped out of the fingers. We've got there somebody must score now, says Ruth. And Benetton and Zebra have surprised the big guns. How's that not a penalty for tackling a player off the ball, says Freshman? It did look like a pretty early tackle made on him there. The 48 minutes through now. Another scrum chance. Now just showing there, North Otago versus Horowhenua Kapiti. It's taking place tomorrow for the Heartland Championship. I think there was a game on today as well with North, or was it Mid-Canterbury? Did they win in the end? I'm going to have a quick look because or else I'll forget to check later. We have got a scrum getting set at this point in time. Ooh. Okay, Mid-Canterbury won up against Thames Valley. 21-18, close game between those two sides. And a bit of a comeback in that game too. Now, nice step from Che Fiaki, almost breaking through on the halfway line for Chapman. He's dragged down by Flanders, who gets onto the ball and manages to get another steal for Hawkes Bay. Kick downfield for Fakatava, looking for the 50-22. That one's going towards the sideline, but Enor is back and ready for it. Now kicks it downfield off his left. Naria Famai taking it, slips over a little bit, but still gets round Enor, but doesn't get past George Bell. Coming to Otago, even though I'm from Wellington. Are you going to watch the woman later on? Says Kiwi Rob. The woman later on. I feel like I should know what sport you're talking about, but off the top of my head, I can't think of it. We talking, is it cricket for the Women's World Cup, or is it something else? Oh yeah, New Zealand, Pakistan I've just seen for the women's cricket. No, I will be sleeping during that time. New stub. Going with a pass on the outside to George Bell as we have got the URCs throughout the night. Our new stub plays half. Going to Dom Gardner, driven back again. I do see that Zach Gallagher is back up on his feet, which is fantastic to see. That was a great run from Fiaki, but almost costly too, and will Munster win today? It's going to be a tough one. They come in as quite big underdogs, but they do often quite enjoy playing Leinster in terms of that rivalry. It's going to be an advantage for off the ball in favour of Dallas McLeod. Now offload on the outside. Goes into the hands of Bell. Inside ball to Tom Christie. He's going to back himself but doesn't have the pace that he would have liked. Now they did have Natunani Purivai with him but couldn't quite get it into his hands. Now Dallas McLeod runs through and scores the try. That could be the difference maker for Canterbury now. They needed one. It's their first try in quite some time. Andrew Nooster breaking the line initially. Tom Christie. Quite able to have that pace. White Ferns versus Pakistan. That's what I mean when maybe Fiaki can trust his running game a little bit more. He can make line breaks and make offloads. He just couldn't quite link up there. A great tackle made by Folau Fakatava. And then from there, the short ball to Dallas McLeod. There was a gap miss tackle from Devery. It created the chance. It looks like it's going to be a South Island final. And Canterbury earned that for sure, says Jonathan. Yeah, they've had to work hard for it. There haven't been a huge amount of attacking opportunities at times for Canterbury throughout this game. Early on, they were getting all the chances. Whereas Hawkes Bay, with that yellow card of Natunani Punivai, really started to fire back. Fiaki's got it over too. And that is now going to make the score 22-14, back to that 8-point lead. The tricky 8-point lead for Canterbury. And kia ora bro, a can tab from York, England. Come on the tabs, says Andy Scott. Hey, I do think that with that Ramphilly Shield match taking place earlier on in the season, Canterbury Otago is certainly a final that a lot of people are keen to see, definitely in the South Island. Canterbury's last final appearance was in 2022. They lost versus Wellington. It's a stat that they've just put up there. Otago's last final was in about 2005, I think it said, for the Premier Division. Still 30 minutes to go, Hawkes Bay. There's an 80-minute team, says Studs race. One's going to go off the side of the boot. About 30 metres out from the line. Another line-out chance for Hawkes Bay. It's still neither side looking too quick to make their subs here. In fact, I'm looking through, I'm seeing hardly anyone who has been replaced at this point in time. So both sides know that they may have to take this game deep. Kick downfield from George Bell. Looking for the 50-22. It will keep on rolling straight though. And he is the man leading the foot race. He tries to tackle Lincoln McClutchy and does just that. Gets in the breakdown. Creates a turnover chance here for Canterbury and they will get themselves the ball back. That is massive work from George Bell. Now the advantage as well in favour of Canterbury. Cross kick from Andrew Nooster. Mataeli can't quite bring it in. And it will go back now for the penalty. Bell's on fire here. That was your NPC team. I actually don't really have one, believe it or not. Location-wise, I'm kind of situated halfway between Christchurch and Dunedin, so it means that you can honestly pick Canterbury or Otago if you're in the South Island, but I'm pretty impartial with most of the teams. I just enjoy seeing good provincial rugby, and that's what we've had all throughout this NPC season. Otago gets an extra day off too, says Jonathan. That is true. Now, what is your opinion on Dossi? Seems like a good impact player off the bench. Doesn't get a huge amount of starts no matter where he is. Normally for the Hurricanes, he's behind Lomax. Normally for the All Blacks, he's behind Tyrell Lomax. So now that Lomax is out of the picture, maybe Tossie gets a bit more of a chance. North Islanders behind the Magpies, says Shane. I also think Otago supporters are behind the Magpies too, because they kind of want to see that home final. Well, in fact, they don't kind of want to see it. They do want to see that home final. Who would you support, North Otago or South Canterbury? I know more South Canterbury players, so probably them in that scenario. But only because, like I said, I know a few of the players in that side. There's a knock-on from... Oh, no, they're going back for the penalty anyway. A great win for mid-Canterbury. Yeah, looked like a close game from the looks of it. Oh, but a push and shove off the ball too. Who's that between? That looks like Devon Flanders is in the middle of it with Tom Christie. As well as, I think that is Dom Gardner or maybe Zach Gallagher, in fact, getting right into the middle of it. Okay, Ben O'Keefe's just saying to both sides, you've had your push, you've had your fun, now get back to the scrum. I got interviewed by Tossie once. See, there's Alex there. You got interviewed by him, as in like for some sort of like post-match thing, or as like a... What was it? And red and black to the bone, let's go Pack. And also hopefully Canterbury's new rugby stadium is finished soon. Well, it has to be soon because, of course, they've got that super round taking place in all April. There we go. No, it started with A. Ulster will beat the Sharks, says Bo Kang, after the game for a TikTok. So, yeah, there's Alex there. It's actually starting to rain in Christchurch. Oh, that's not good news for the cricket match that's going on at the moment. Not so bad for the rugby. They'll play through it. But if it gets a bit heavier, cricket might end up with a bit of a delay. We see there Isaiah Walker-Leawiti. He has made his way onto the field as well as Carrero Symes, so they are now starting to make those switches here for Hawkes Bay. Waiting a little bit longer before we get to see the switches for Canterbury by the looks of it. And go the Burries. Does it sound silly referring to Canterbury? Burries, I don't think is something we've heard anyone call them. From the top of my head anyway. Normally people say Cantabs. But now, offload there. This is close for Chapman, just short of the try line again. Now, they've still got the penalty advantage. Had a lot of it throughout the last 5 minutes or so here for Canterbury in terms of that advantage in their favour. I'm getting very close. The try line. I'm trying to work out who that was going to be. It is Jamie Hanna now. Now, managing to stop it again. As Isaiah Walker-Leawiri looking a bit skinny here. Isn't he 122 kgs? He is supposed to be. He maybe has slimmed down just a little bit. I don't know who told him to do that. Well, maybe it might have just been a thing. Oh, McLeod's through again. And that will be another try for Canterbury. This is going back towards that 15-point lead that they had in the first half. Although what happened in that first half was the late comeback from their opposition. But that is a good time to score. If you are Canterbury, just try and secure this game that little bit more. Canterbury going hard here. Garner is too slow off the back of the scrum to play 8, in my opinion. Dealing with why Matty says Zach, I do indeed. And keep hitting that line. I think sadly that is the game. Yeah, unless we see Hawkes Bay do something big here for the final moments. You know, 25 minutes is a long time. Well, now down to 23 though. I think Kickoff's gone over too, making the score 29-14. Chaifiaki adds the additional 2. Just wonder, in the final, you've got Chaifiaki, who has got not the best kicking accuracy for the year, and then you've got Cam Miller, who's the top point scorer and has an insane accuracy for this season. That will be an intriguing battle, but Johnny River, he makes his way onto the field. Drop ball, says no mum. Dallas McLeod. So here's Michael Gray. And there's on up the Bronx. Is there now NPC or no NPC next year? I think there is NPC, isn't there? We have got the Otago have beaten Canterbury, and Canterbury, before at least, says, hey, no, that is true. They took the shield off them. So I feel like Canterbury will have that little bit of extra motivation. Otago will hopefully have that little bit of extra confidence. And then, of course, this is when we see Hawkes Bay score themselves 3 tries in a row and go back to win it, don't we? I must admit, I'm breathing a little easier now. Still got our bench to come on. Hawkes Bay hasn't scored points 15-15. Although they did get that try. The end of the first half was up against 15. The first try, though, that they got was when they were yellow-carded, Canterbury. But I believe that second one that they ended up getting was when Canterbury did have their full 15. Do you know fielding high? I do not. And payback next week, Otago, says Michael. Now trying to get the steal there on the breakdown for Johnny Rover. Whakatava. Going back across to the right-hand side. Little shovel on from Lincoln McClutchy. Off there from Isaiah Walker-Leawiri. And it's a knock-on from Zahn Sullivan. They're just coming too quickly at the moment for Hawkes Bay here in terms of those mistakes. A time that you really can't afford them. Sorry, I thought that second try was at the end of the yellow. I stand corrected. Said Studs race. I think that the momentum from the yellow, though, definitely did carry over after, if that makes sense. It seemed like ever since they were down to 14, from there, Hawkes Bay took the rest of the half kind of in their favour. And North Islanders transform into Voltron starting. And now too legit to quit, says Shane. Now just the 21 minutes remaining in this contest. The semi-final. Ready to feed it in. Still Chapman in the starting lineup. They've got Belworthy off the bench. As well as Miyake. He is yet to make his way on. Barnes isn't on. Liam Jack. He isn't on either. Breen. Daniel Leonard Brown. Nick Hyde, I think, is the replacement hooker. They got to the final for the New Zealand Secondary Schools Top 4 competition. MotoGP was good. Says Bruce. But another scrum reset. I see there Lucas Ripley is on there. Chapman puts the ball in. Holding solid for now. It looked like a knee was trying to sneak down. And all Maitland final with an Otago win, says Jace. Yeah, an all South Island final would be quite the statement from the South Island teams. Definitely because they did finish 1 and 2 in the overall standings. Mentioned now in the quarterfinals, no underdogs won. And the semi-finals so far, the favourites have won as well. So whether or not Canterbury can continue that trend, big tackle made on Andrew Newstub. We're still down by Tom Parsons. I don't think that Hawkes Bay, though, if they want to win this game, not only can they not concede any more points. Does knock on. But I also think that they have to have about 70% possession from here. Anything less than that, and I just don't see them winning it. Come on, Ripley, says Alex. Look at that, Hawkes Bay first try was bloody forward. Hi, everyone, told you. So it's going to be my team versus Bay of Plenty. Versus Bay of Plenty. Bay of Plenty lost, though. So it's Otago versus the winner of this game. That's a stat. NPC finals are usually lots of upsets. 0 so far, says Studs Race. Yeah, everyone who was expected to win so far has. And, you know, if the final... Well, the thing is, Otago, they have won more games throughout the year. But with Canterbury... Oh, wait, no, that's the wrong way around. I was about to say the Canterbury having the home final, but I know Canterbury have won... Yeah, they'd have to be favourites, right? So the thing is, Otago would have the opportunity to cause the one upset. And they did cause an upset already up against Canterbury this year. Oops, sorry, mate. Says Zane in there. Canterbury running it now, and Hawkes Bay better keep up. Says Ruth there too. My team versus Otago. That'll be a good final, though. And sadly, it takes place at the same time as Australia versus Japan next week. Now, Falau Fakatava. Ready to put this ball in. Now, short side, Lincoln McClutchy has managed to hang on to that one. He's had a few handling errors throughout the second half already. Fakatava back across to Isaiah Walker. Leo Whittier is tackled by Daniel Leonard Brown, who has made his way on for Canterbury as well. So now we're starting to see those subs start rolling on for the two teams. Fakatava goes back across to Flanders. Now hands from Higgins. Goes to McClutchy. Tackle on low was a little bit high from Andrew Newstub. Give him Flanders. 45 metres out from their own line here, the Magpies. They are currently down by 15 points. I'm wearing Canterbury 2024 jersey. Of course, we will win this game. Says Ainan. All running on to that one. Nicely taken, and taking the contact too for Natunani Punivai. Chapman just calling for some forwards. Just find Derry. Only 40 metres away from the try line. From their own line, I should say. Being told to use it by Chapman. And that one may almost be out on the full. Yes, it is. So the line out now for Hawkes Bay. They will be sitting about 40 metres from the Canterbury line. And they need a try very soon. Right, time is off. And the change is about to take place. Is to Ryan Barnes. He's coming onto the field for Dom Gardner. Canterbury versus Otago final. If so, where will it be? It will be in Christchurch. If that is the case. If Hawkes Bay can somehow come back and win this, then the final would be in Dunedin. Oh, bit of a wonky throw there. But it is called as straight enough. Fakatava now claims that one. Little offload from the deck from Higgins. Now, Flanders. Called on the halfway line. Was that straight? It wasn't, no. But I'm not sure why it wasn't called as a not straight line out, to be honest. Counter ruck again from Canterbury. Tom Parsons told to get out of it. Little kick him behind from Chapman. In fact, he's got a bit more on that. Taken by McClutchy. 25 metres out from his line. Canterbury won't mind this type of game either if it just keeps on ticking over with a kicking battle. But now Miracle Failangi tackled by Tom Christie. Home final, huge advantage for Canterbury. I'd say big enough, but then also they have lost to Otago in Christchurch this year. And Otago actually took the shield off them at this location. So, you know, there might be a little bit of payback on the mind for Canterbury there, but there'll also be that confidence for Otago knowing that they've already done it here at this location. Now another step coming here for the big man, Zach Gallagher. Tackle around the halfway line on the body there for Devon Flanders. Unable to get that still. Che Fiaki comes in as the first 5. Now Johnny Rover almost through. Oh, that looks like an injury here for Joe Apakatoa. I think he was reaching for his knee. Little kick him behind. Dallas McLeod, great pace shown by him to be able to win the foot race, but Tom Parsons takes it straight back in the breakdown. I think Enor was asking for a penalty, but referee said that he pulled out of there. Hawkes Bay should start entering and have Fakatava as a super sub, says Alex. Looking for the steal again in the breakdown. Canterbury Fiaki is having a very good game. Yeah, I think there's about 3 or 4 Canterbury players at the moment who have to be right up there for man of the match. You've got, charge down attempt there from Braden Enor. George Bell's got to be up there for what he has been able to do. Speaking of, he's just made another tackle. You've got the effort that we've seen from Fiaki. I would also say that, McLeod's been pretty solid in that number 12 jersey. And then you could probably even say the work that Derry's done in the line-out, or maybe one of those guys in the loose forward trio. And Shea has a pretty cool name. So here's Alex there. And Parsons getting better. And Cambridge and Oxford University, my compensation. Why do I have to ask foreign lawyer? I have no idea what you mean in there. And Tom Christie, of course. Says Zanin. But now, rolling this one back again for Lau Fakatava. Charge down from Sam Derry, who has claimed it. Offloads again. This could be the game. Daniel Leonard Brown's over the line. Now, if he was onside there, Derry, that's a very strong charge down. But there is also half a chance that maybe he did jump the gun a little bit. And Bell is having his best game I've seen in a while. He's probably chosen to do it at the best time too. There would have been people who saw George Bell's name in the All Black squad and they would have said, why is he in there? They wanted to have a look. And, if they're basing it off this game, you say, yep, he's well and truly ready. And also falling apart here slowly. Another try, Canterbury. Yeah, the charge down there from Sam Derry with the tissue hanging out his nose to try and stop it from bleeding. Leonard Brown scores. Big hug from Chapman. And Leonard Brown, Canterbury says Ruth. And there as well. I saw Bell at the AB's captain's run. Alex there. Now Che Fiaki gets the kick over. That now makes it once again that much more difficult for Hawkes Bay in this game. You'd have to say is done now. 36 points to 14. Likely a good try with no obstruction. Says Jonathan there. Like they've just said, Hawkes Bay in the final 13 minutes of this game have to score 4 times. Oh, nicely taken by Johnny Rover. Looking pretty good now. Will be something special to come back from the SS Studs race. This clock will just continue to go by quickly for the Magpies. It's a bit of a cheap shot from Isaiah Walker-Leawiti, just trying to force something there in the breakdown, or at least in the kick downfield from Chapman. We won already, says Zainan. More than double the score now. And what is the next fantasy rugby tournament? I'd assume... I don't actually know. I don't really do the rugby fantasy side of things. Maybe Super Rugby, or maybe they even have it for the November internationals. Little offload there. Nicely taken by Ripley. Eddie Tata Eneri, he has made his way onto the field for Fakatava already, bringing that little bit more speed near the end of this game. Nice step there from Sam Smith. 12 minutes left on the clock now as Walker-Leawiti. He was hit hard in the tackle by Daniel Leonard Brown. McClutchy skip pass to Kariru Symes. Offloads up to Eritara Inari. Zahn Sullivan looking for the offload again. McClutchy shoveling on to Naria for Mai into the wide channel now for Ripley, who cuts back in as he is dropped by Johnny Rover. Now an advantage there. Rover was offside. Canterbury here. I kind of feared of an Otago Canterbury final. Silly shaped ball though. It sometimes dictates game, says Fossil. Yeah, South Island derby between those two sides will be a very intriguing one. Now a little kick him on from McClutchy. And they'll go back for another penalty. Do you think there will be fantasy for the Northern Tour? There may be if there's normally, I'm not too sure whether there is, but they might do something along those lines. Are you doing the Munster match today? I actually am not, I don't think. I think I'm going to be doing the Stormers versus Zebra, and then also the game prior to that I'm doing will be the Sharks Ulster, but those are the only two games of the URC I believe I'm doing. Also, Rugby Hawkes Bay, Canterbury defence got organised fast. Says studs raised there too. Now looks like another change. Breen, he will make his way onto the field. There's fantasy for the Rugby Championship. Yeah, so I wonder whether or not because it's an actual competition, that may be why. Perhaps. I think next year in the Nations Championship, they might have some sort of fantasy thing going. And Lions should be okay today versus Scarlets. That's my slight mindset. I'm working on the theory that they should be able to get the job done, so I shouldn't miss too much. I'm hoping to wake up just before the end of that game and see that the Lions have won by about 15. Speaking of the 15, that was the margin I thought we were going to see Canterbury win by. Nice shovel on out wide. And they will score now, Hawkes Bay. It is one of many that they require. It's Jonah Lowe who does get himself the try. Just seems like a little bit too late for them to be able to create a big chance. Although, if they get this conversion, my Canterbury by 15 prediction may not be looking too bad. Aaron Love or Callum Harkin. I think there's a best of both worlds where you can actually have both of them. Definitely if Love's playing fullback. Oh no, I'm thinking of Harry Godfrey, never mind. Well, I guess same thing though. You could put Harkin at 15 and then switch it around. Right, that kick is missed for Lincoln McClutchy, so that will keep the score sitting 36 points to 19. The 10 minutes remaining. Water has been called off the field. I cheer for the Lions of the URC when I can. Off the post, says Nov Mum. Just out wide, Nato Nandi Punivai unable to get out there. Just said there, 43 defenders beaten for Jonah Lowe so far. Not just in this game, of course, and the whole of the URC. Andrew Newstump having a bit of a juggle of his mouth guard. They're in no hurry here, Canterbury, to make their way back to the halfway line. That one taken again. I think Harkin had a better season than last year, even though he didn't win this year. So here's Alex off to the left-hand side. Now it was Arn Sullivan. Pierce is on the outside. Goes to, I believe it was Higgins. Tell you what, they're breaking away again here. Hawkes Bay. North Island Voltron starting now. And it's a 17 year age gap and only 10 minutes to go. Game's gone. Says Tanner too. I don't think I've ever heard someone describe a score as an age gap between the sides. McClutchy. And Johnny Rover in the breakdown does get the steal for Canterbury there. Now kick him behind from Chapman once more. It's a tactic that they're going to be using quite a bit, I would say, throughout the final moments of this game. Looks like Hawkes Bay have managed to control this one at the back. They will just hit this one up a couple times before, unfortunately, having to kick it downfield. Now Eritara Inari back into the pocket to Zahn Sullivan. He hasn't had as much of an impact in this game as he has in a couple of the past ones. Jay Fiaki doesn't need to go quickly. 17 points gap. Says Tanner 2 there. Right, that sounded like another sub about to happen, is it? Yep, there he is. We are going to see Tuitavalu making his way onto the field for Zahn Sullivan. And then also there is the change at 9 taking place for Canterbury. And bringing the Japanese guy already, Canterbury, says Ainan. So Bellworthy's on. And Miyake, I haven't seen as of yet. But he may actually already be out there. But now, waiting for this ball, Tyson Bellworthy. To the left-hand side again, Johnny Rover shovels it on. Attack and run forward from would have been Barnes. Off to the left-hand side again, little stutter step. Shove it on Barnes, new stub. Goes to Braden in or two-man tackle on Johnny Rover, who has knocked that ball on. Going to see another scrum chance. So we're going to go like this. Go like that as well. We have there's Rover playing first 5. Says Thuds Race. I don't think he is. I think New Stub's still in that 10 jersey, but Rover's got the ball a lot throughout this last little while. Right, there is a player sitting down at the moment. I think that is Hay Horton. And what we'll do is we'll update that score very quickly. There we go. There's an Otago supporter in the stand. He will be ready for next week. He's waving to the camera as well, pointing to that Otago crest on the jersey. Oh, and they've got the QR code up for the tickets to the grand final. So they're saying there's no chance of a comeback here, ladies and gents. They have said this game is over. 6 minutes remaining. The only side that I can think of that scored 3 tries in 10 minutes, or in fact 3 tries in 5 minutes, was the Fijian Drua. So I don't see that happening here. Oh, scrum going down. This is going to be a reset as well. This will use up an extra 30 seconds. Okay, time is actually off now. So it was a part of Canterbury's game plan just to use up a few more seconds. It hasn't really worked. 6 minutes remaining. You think that 100 minutes from last week would have completely depleted Canterbury, but they prosper. Says Tanner 2, and I'm back, says Alex. Oh, you changed your logo as well, I do see. And the Landers won a ridiculous game in South Africa years ago. 3 tries in 5 minutes or something, says Studs Race. Man of the match, Hamish. I'd give it to George Bell. I think that he's done enough. He was the best player of the game. I think that George Bell's been solid. Fiaki's been good. Dallas McLeod's looked strong. Sam Derry's had a solid game in the locking duo for Canterbury too. There haven't been a huge amount of players who haven't had decent performances for this Canterbury side. Now back across. Low. Ball there, 30 metres out from his line. Higgins has a little bit of a shuffle. And Canterbury really rebounded after the game, or the shaky game against Counties last week. Now offload there, cutting through a gap. With Tavalu up to halfway. I think they just called him Lucas Ripley, and they just mentioned about how many tries Ripley scored, but Ripley at this stage did not get the ball. And the rear for Mai. Off to the left-hand side again. Kareru Symes. Get it back up. And Canterbury wins, says Mukesha. Does look likely at this stage. McClutchy goes back across. This time it's in the hands of Lucas Ripley. Does go for the kick in behind, and that one has not worked out. Canterbury just have the freedom to be able to kick it back downfield. Now step. Back up to his feet. To Tavalu. And Chris the Young Song hero. He normally is for Canterbury, isn't he? I remember that game that we covered earlier on in the season. I think it was Canterbury-Auckland. How he had an absolutely phenomenal game, and they gave man of the match to Sam Derry, who did hardly anything in that whole game. Oh, it was close to the steal. It's just going to be the knock-on against Enor, though. Said that it was the chance of the intercept. 1 second, we'll go like this. And we'll go like that as well. Just the 3 minutes left. Hawkes Bay have the chance to be able to get one more in this contest. Currently 17 points difference though. Just might be a little bit too much. I'll tell you right now, it is too much to be able to catch up here. It will be Otago Canterbury for that final next week. So on the same time as Australia versus Japan, but we'll try and do a little bit of a co-commentary situation. I should be an All Black already. Says Zaynan. And I was like, well, they can put the final tickets on sale now, says Studs Race. Yeah, they showed them just before. I should have actually checked to see how much they were trying to charge for them. In fact, I might do that. Oh, in a short moment, there's going to be a big collision there. Now drop ball. Braden Enor pops it up to Johnny Rova, who has to duck under a challenge that came in from Hawkes Bay. Now Enor. Tackle there from Jonah Lowe. Man of the match equals Bell, says Alex there, and I remember that. Even he didn't believe it himself, it looked like. Yeah, and they gave him, like, I don't remember what the award thing was, but it was like 3 points to him, 2 points to someone else, and then 1 point to Christie in the end. So I feel like they must have been looking at something we weren't in terms of what the award was actually for. Going off to the right. Again goes to Barnes and buys have a Canterbury jersey and get to the game, Amish. Says Studs Race. What's on next week? What else have we got? Other than that game, well, actually, no, to be fair, there's Japan-Australia, isn't there? Nice offload. This is the chance. Ball on the outside. And Tom Christie gets a deserved try. That's going to bring up the 40 points here for Canterbury as well. We saw Otago do it not too long ago in their game. Yep, the game is over. Says Tanner there. There we go, 79 minutes will be on the clock by the time this kick is taken. Just moving it away to the right-hand side, finding the offload, and then a nice bit of work from Liam Jack, the youngster, to be able to then get it on the outside. What I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly get that QR. There we go. I've managed to find it. I managed to go back for it. As of Wainui Mata Rugby Club, says Alex. Tickets for, I guess you click Canterbury. Page you're looking for doesn't exist. Huh. Okay, so they haven't actually got the tickets available, but they pretty much, they put you on to the where you can find the finals tickets, but the final's not available yet. Interesting that Otago and Cantab's had such tight quarters. But fairly clean wins in the semis. It's as if maybe, you know, those games, they've just managed to correct those mistakes heading into these later stage games. Because they have looked solid, both teams, all throughout the season. Oh, it's going to be knocked on by Isaiah Walker Leowiri. Now just the 40 minutes remaining. Oh, sorry, 40 seconds remaining. Hawkes Bay would wish it was 40 minutes at this point in time. Now another step coming in from Canterbury. Like they are saying, they know for Canterbury that they are going to be hosting this final. Just the 20 seconds remaining. That ball was out. Getting dove on there was Tyson Bellworthy. Plays half. 15 seconds left. They are just going to close this one out. I don't think there's going to be any crazy play here from Canterbury right at the end. The last thing that they want, some sort of injury. Oh, the crowd counting down to the full-time siren as well. And that one goes into touch, and that will finish off the game. 41 points to 19. It will be Canterbury versus Otago in Christchurch for the final. Taking place next week. Good game, says Tanner too. So yeah, 43-19 the end score for this game. And just in comparison, 41-17. The score between Otago and Bay of Plenty. So both sides actually winning by the same margin in their semi-finals, which means we could have a very close final on our hands if it shakes up the way that the rest of the season has. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We're back tonight with more URC. Will you be streaming for 20 more minutes? We will not be. No, we're about to pop away now. Are you doing any URC later, mate? We have got 2 games of the URC Sharks versus Ulster, and then also Stormers versus Zebra are the 2 games that I'm going to be doing of the URC. And perhaps if you guys are keen, I don't know whether you will be, but we could end up doing that Samoa versus New Zealand game tomorrow of Rugby League. I do see is on, and it luckily doesn't overlap with anything. So if that is a game that you guys would be keen to see, do let me know. How you doing, Kiwis G? That is weird timing, because I haven't actually mentioned them throughout the whole live stream. And then I just mentioned them there, and you have just mentioned them as well. But if you guys are keen, we can do that game perhaps. I'll try and get a guest maybe for it as well. Missed the whole game, says I see you. And also we have got their participation ribbon. And cheers, Amish says, David, can I just tell you one more thing? You can tell me one more thing, Alex. And we have got there, at least first half was better competitive for Hawkes Bay. But yeah, I think Canterbury will be pretty happy with what's happened there from this contest. We're able to get themselves solid win. 24 points difference between the sides. Definitely watching the league. But I'll be able to join online. Cheers, though. Says Studs Rays. And there as well. Fiaki had a busy day with conversions as well. Congrats, Canterbury. Cheers, Hamish. Hydrate night yawning. Says Pie. Yeah, I am going to sneak in about maybe 4 hours of sleep before the next live stream that we have got for the URC. The right pronunciation is Wainui or Marta. I'll try my best to remember that. And give me lads, let's go. Says Shane. And there too. And see you later, Hamish. Thanks. Says Ruth. But yeah, nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you all for the next one.